Hey, hey guys, welcome to Jack's Treasures podcast called What? Not Another Reselling Podcast. My name is Brian, and this is my wife Tracy, and we are going to be doing a podcast that, actually, first off, I just wanted to say that we're recording this on Sunday, and we had to go through a lot of storms last night. So we're just glad that the internet was working and that we're able to record today.
Thank you, AT&T, for not sucking as bad as you usually do.
Yes. And obviously not going to be one of our corporate sponsors that we're going to be trying to get. But the title of our podcast is called What? Not Another Reselling Podcast. And we're going to be...
We are hosting this podcast because we want to have a place where people can go who do live selling like we do, where they can learn about what's going on with the major platforms, what's going on in the reselling world in general that affects live selling, and just to discuss some of the differences between live selling and static selling.
Yeah, that's one of the major things, is that there is a difference between static selling and live selling. And our focus is going to be on the live selling platforms, of which there are many live selling platforms, which we will be talking about.
We do also do static selling, and we totally support that. And it will come up incidentally in our discussions as well.
Yes. And we're going to have like segments on our show where we'll talk about certain things at different times in the show. And one of the segments that we're going to be talking about is probably one of the biggest things about live selling. And that is the pros and the cons of live selling. Are there pros and cons of live selling? There are, just like there are pros and cons of static selling. And I mean, having a booth, selling on at a flea market. No matter what your selling is, there are pros and cons. And we're not going to sit here and tell you that live selling is the next big thing and that it's going to replace all other selling platforms. No, we're not going to tell you that. We're going to try to be as honest as we possibly can about what happens, and some of the things that that we've had to deal with just in ours. Now, a lot of this is going to be our experiences with live selling. So in the comments down below, if you have like different experiences, or if you have some things that you would like us to mention, especially about pros and cons of reselling, please do leave some comments down there to give us some more things that we could talk about. Because the one thing we don't want to do is just sit here and say, oh, well, this one time that we were on and we lost our internet, and how did we do that? We're going to do things like that just to show people that, yes, there's our ways to do it.
Another thing is many weeks, I'd say most weeks, we're going to have another guest on, or guests on, to talk about their experiences with live selling, because it's so different from one person to another, what your live selling looks like. So we want to sit down, we want to talk to other people, and we want to hear their opinions. Some of them are going to be much bigger live sellers than us. Some of them will be smaller than us. Some of them might be even people that don't really dig live selling.
Yeah. That's definitely one. So let's talk about the pros and cons of live reselling. So we'll start with a pro of live selling.
I'd say, to me, one of the biggest pros is the fact that you can sell items so much faster. Like, I'm very excited. We'll talk more about this later. We went to the Peaches to Beaches highway sale this weekend, and we bought a lot of stuff. Some of those items are going to go into a show today. They're going to sell today, and we're going to have the money today. And that's amazing. That's not something you see on the static selling platforms.
Yeah, so that would definitely be a pro, is that you're able to move stuff a lot faster.
Yes.
Now, the con to that is you don't tend to get the highest return on your investment on the live selling platforms as opposed to the static selling platforms. If we take some of the things that we got at Peaches to Beaches and I put them up on the static platforms such as eBay or Poshmark or Mercari or Amazon, we're going to be waiting a while for
Yes.
those things to sell. Yes, some things might sell fairly quick because we do that. Sometimes we have posted things and they've sold the next day, and we've gotten money for those. We probably left some money on the table, which is what I always say. I always say you didn't lose money if you sell something that's less. You just left money on the table. So in the case of the pro and the con of this one, do you want that the thing to move fast, or do you want to maximize profit? So you got the two rules of thought on that one: maximizing your profit, or getting it out off of your shelf and using that shelf space for other
I'm going to say an
items.
add-on to my pro there is that doing live selling takes a lot less storage space because you're moving it out faster. You don't necessarily have to keep things there on the shelf waiting. So for someone like us, we live in a smaller apartment. We don't have to take that space for things to sit and wait to sell. And that's a huge pro.
Yeah, another huge pro too is when you're talking about items that are $2-3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You don't need those items to be. Our cat is literally scratching at the door to try to get
If you've
in
seen our
there.
regular videos, sometimes we let her in, sometimes we don't. She wants in bad.
Yeah, and she's probably going to end up coming in pretty soon. But yeah, that's the big thing. If it's $1, $2, $3, $4 item, why am I going to hold on to that? It's taking up space on my shelf, as opposed to me selling it for $2, $3, whatever it may be. Remember, the key to one of the keys to big keys to reselling is you make your money on the buy.
Yes.
Okay, like we were during the highway sale. Tracy and I were looking for video games, as everybody was, and we were with Chris, the Cajun reseller, and we were having a great time. He was finding some. He sent us a picture of some DVDs that somebody was asking $5 a DVD. Most of the places that we went to, the DVDs were $1. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we were looking for video games, and most of the video games, everywhere we went, video games were $5, $5 and above. $5 and above. We did buy one. I did buy one because it was a new sealed one, and I was like, "This one is going to be good." It's $10. I had already made a deal on some other items, so I was like, "Okay, I'll pay up."
And the lady was nice. She did Whatnot. Well, she didn't sell on Whatnot. She was a Whatnot buyer.
Yeah, she actually said that's where she got most of the stuff. So I might have bought something that I sold her. Who knows? But we ended up coming to one of the very last sales that we went to on Peaches to Beaches. They had video games for $2. I said, okay. So I started looking through them. A lot of them were dollar ones and ones that I weren't going to do very well on. So I made an offer that I would buy all of them that she had. And I did. I spent $80 and I got 192 video games, which equates to about 40 cents, 40 to 45 cents, somewhere in that range, a piece. Now I'm going to have to probably sell them for about $2 a piece so that I can make some profit on it. But most of them are going to sell probably for the dollar range, which would about break even with me. But others are going to go higher, and the ones that go higher,
really good ones mixed in
the ones that go higher are where my profit's going to be. And then the ones that don't sell, I'm going to go ahead and give those to McKay's. I have an outlet that I can give those to, and they don't have to sit on my shelf. I don't have to worry about.
And we get some store credit that we can use to buy things that we prefer to sell.
Yep. So what's another pro? We're going to try to do like 2. We'll do like 2 if we can a week, unless we have a guest. Then we'll do some with the guest.
I would say one of the biggest pros is just the fun and community aspect of Whatnot. I mean, we've met so many awesome people on the platform. He mentioned earlier we had storms last night. We had 2 resellers from Whatnot that live in our area, and we were talking with them all last night. You know, how are you doing? You have any damage? You know, and they were checking on us. I've never had that kind of community with an eBay buyer, with an eBay seller, but I actually had people on Whatnot checking up on us, and that's awesome.
Yeah, that is really good. So shout out to Cato Marine and to Mr. Ornament. They're very, very close friends. Well, they're very close to us, very good friends to us. So they were checking on us. We were checking on them. So it was really good. And being on Whatnot is a lot of fun.
It is.
Last night we did a show. I wore a dress. I did.
He did.
Hangar 909 had the WTF no thank you one, and it was a lot of
I
fun.
failed.
Yeah, then I failed right after that. So it was a double fail. It was an epic fail on both of our parts. But it was a show that was designed to be fun. It was one of those things where, Tracy and I were engaging. We were just having fun. Show the banana guy right here. We wore a wig that was the dreadlocks wigs and stuff like
Same hat as
that.
him too.
Yeah, same hat as him. There's they are right there. So she could literally show you. There's one of them. We were wearing those, so it was all fun. Was the focus of that show to sell on whatnot?
No.
Not really. Did we make money? Yeah, we sold about, I don't know, 5-6 items on it and just flew some stuff out. But that was more of a time filler. But it was just a show that was designed to be fun. Okay, so that's definitely a pro. Is it's fun. Where static listing, to me, there's no real fun in that. I mean, yes, it's enjoyable. It's always great, and people are always excited about finding that banger item that they get for $1. Like on the Peaches to Beaches, I found 2 swords that are energy swords from Halo, plastic swords that I paid $1 a piece for those. And I'm going to sell them on eBay for $35 a piece. So that's $70. I turned $2 into $70. Not the biggest, hugest thing, but that was like a really cool item. But one of the cons of that, as far as the fun part of it, is that being on live selling it's meant to be a social platform, a social networking platform. So you have people that are on it, that are live, that are saying things, that are doing things, that are thanking people left and right, and they're doing call outs, and they're talking about their items, and a lot of them will talk about some of the stuff that's happening in their lives and things like that. And whenever you have a social group of people, you have drama.
You do.
And that's just the nature of the beast, is that there's going to be drama involved in live selling. And of course, everybody knows some of the big podcasters that are out there that are pointing out scammers, and then the whole thing of back and forth of who's doing what, and can you believe that this person said that or did that? And it's all there, and we all know who these podcasters are, that do that. And I'm not saying anything against them at all. I actually follow a couple of them because I think what they're doing is good for the platform itself. Okay,
it's putting some accountability out there, and I think that's needed.
Yeah,
but there's drama.
Yeah,
and also in non-drama, sometimes there's just going to be people that maybe you don't get along with, or that their belief systems are different than yours or whatever. I feel like we're fairly open-minded folk, but not everybody feels that way. And that is one unfortunate con of live selling.
Yeah, we don't try on our shows. I never try to be political. We never try to be religious. And we don't try to really talk about, I don't know, controversial type things.
Yeah.
Now, if something happened, like somebody I try, and we don't always succeed because, again, we're social beings.
Yeah.
And being a social being, you want to let people know things. A lot of times I don't like, but I do it. And it's something that I need to work on, is talk about personal things that are happening in our lives. Like the time that we got into a car accident, right before a show, or the time that I ended up going to the hospital
right after a show.
Right after a show. I try not to do
when
that.
We would take some time off after we had a loss of one of our cats, and it comes out in the show, and that's fine. I mean, I think people,
we're not trying to create drama.
No,
and I'm not trying to create pity buys. But a lot of people will ask how I'm doing, or they'll see it in the show, because I was having some pains in my side during one of the shows and found out it was muscular. So
goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. Because I do have a history, but I don't want to try to create drama. But it's there. I mean, we all know that it is there. We've all heard the story of somebody who just got banned.
We're not on the screen. Okay.
Because I just put us on the screen.
Well, hey.
Okay, sorry about all that. Our internet literally went out. We lost power twice.
Yes.
So I'm going to probably have to do a little bit of editing on this because I'm going to launch it today. But
needless to say, the cat made its way in here during all that also.
Yeah, because y'all seen how dark
this
it
is
got when we
Jesse.
in here.
This is Jesse.
Yeah, this is our cat Jesse. So we were talking about the pros and the cons of reselling. Here's one of the cons: having a cat. No, that's not one of the cons. Yeah, the fact that there's just more drama involved in it, and that's just the nature of anything. If you work in a workforce and you work in a building, there's drama in that building. I was a teacher. There was drama in teaching.
I used to work at Starbucks. There was drama in Starbucks.
Yeah. So you really can't get away from that whenever you have a social aspect. Now, with static listing, you don't have that drama. Okay. Or the dramas might be there, but it's not in your face.
It's going to come out on like YouTube or somewhere like that.
Or
it's
Facebook
not so much
like that
on the platforms themselves.
Right. So those are our two pros and cons of reselling, live selling. All right. So we're going to talk now about doing meetups and having meetups. And literally, we just did this last week, which was we met up
Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday. And not only did we meet up with one of a reseller, we met up with one of our buyers. Okay.
That is an awesome thing about the live selling is that sometimes you can build relationships with your buyers because they keep coming to your show, not only because they want to buy stuff from you, but because they resonate with your personality and they just want to hang out and have a good time.
Yeah. So we met Willow down in Brunswick, Georgia. He drove from Savannah to Brunswick to go, which is like about an hour and 20 minutes just to meet with us. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I don't know how many times did he say, our streams are fun.
Yes. And that made me feel good.
It really did. We really like that. He's a great supporter of the platform. So we met up with him. Now, of course, you're also going to do local meetups because you can have local meetups. Okay. And you'll meet buyers that way. But for us, that was somebody that was in the same state as us. We're in the state of Georgia. But we did that.
I know that's actually something we would like to do is work with Whatnot and set up a local meetup in our area.
Yes, there's a lot of resellers. We talked earlier about at least two of them, which is Cato Marie and Mr. Ornament. Brandy's Bargains lives right next door to us. She's a new seller on Whatnot. And also Damn Fine Stuff is right here. Rose.
Selena Rose.
Selena Rose is here. There's about I know there's another one in Douglasville, which is like 20 minutes down the road.
We bought some pumpkin bread from her and it was amazing.
Yes. So there are a lot of resellers in your area and you could set up meetings and Whatnot will even help support those meetings. Okay. It is part of their community. I don't think and they'll sometimes send somebody down to help with you. Jesse's like clawing me right now and she has claws and my shirt does not prevent a lot of claws and so I have holes in my body.
She's making biscuits.
She is. And then so we did that meetup down there with Willow and then we also met up with, as I talked about earlier, Chris the Cajun reseller who does sell on Whatnot also. And we got to go source with him. We hit a bunch of yard sales with him on the way back from Perry, Georgia to Barnesville, Georgia. And that was a lot of fun. And next week, wow, this is going to be just incredible. Next week, we're going to be going to Plains to Profit, which is hosted by Alicia, the Ink Picker, and Corey and Teresa from Grams and Pops Vintage. So it's going to be amazingly fun. We're going to Omaha, Nebraska. So that's going to be a blast. And we're going to meet up with some other resellers. Oh, this is the biggest thing too. What happened when we went to Nashville?
That's where we met people.
That's right.
I mean, for the first time.
Yeah. And you might have known the story of this, but we were going to quit Whatnot right before we went to that meetup. And on a chance encounter, we met Paul, the Philly Flipper, as we were checking out from the hotel, by the way, which we were already at that point still going to quit Whatnot. And when we met him, he looked at our profile and saw the stuff that we had picked and source that we got at yard sales while we were at the Nashville meetup. And he invited us to be a part of his raid train, which my response was, "What's a raid train?"
My response was yes.
Her response was emphatically yes. So we drove back from that and we're just super excited. And ever since then, our Whatnot has grown exponentially. Our YouTube channels have grown exponentially.
And the reason for that is because we embraced the social aspect of live selling. Before that, we didn't embrace the social aspect. We just sold.
Yeah.
And it happened to be live.
Yeah. And we had a little bit of fun, but it wasn't as fun. When we were crunching the numbers, we were looking at the numbers and we were saying, wow, we're only making like, $10 an hour. And I was like, nah, I can make more money doing other things per hour. So that's one of the things that we do is we reflect on how
Our
much money
hourly
we
rate.
make, our hourly rate. That's why we don't do booths anymore. We've had booths. We made
Antique
money,
booths.
sold in antique malls and thrift stores where they rent out booth space. We made money every single month with those for about 5 years?
Yeah.
About 5 years. There was only like two months out of those 5 years that we did not get a check. And so we made money with it, but we ended up not doing it when we ended up crunching the numbers. And it was like, man, we're making like $5 an hour. So at that point, it was like, let's just stop doing that and focus more on doing the live selling and then grow that end of the business. So there are many businesses, many places, by the way, where you can sell on live selling, not just Whatnot, even though that's what
we
we're
talk about
focus
Whatnot a lot because that is our platform of choice.
on.
But some other places that you can go to do live selling is a site called Jamble, which is live selling, but it focuses almost solely on clothing. There's the District, which is unique in that it's one big site, but there's multiple districts inside that are operated by individual resellers themselves.
Yeah, the District is sort of like a mall where when you go to a mall, there's many, many different stores. And some of them are big stores and some of them are specialty stores.
Right.
And some of them are, service oriented or not service oriented, but they're very, very focused.
This is the only other
things.
platform that we can speak from a personal perspective of. We have sold on District. Actually do sell in District's static side pretty often, but we did do a live there and we will probably do some more in the future. Just because of the having different categories, certain ones.
We're literally, I think, members of 4 of the District individual platforms.
Certain of them will fit in with the stuff that we have to sell better than others. So I do want to move there because that's one thing about reselling is not putting all your eggs in one basket. And I think having that in our back pocket is going to be beneficial and give us exposure to different buyers too. But outside of that, there's also Poshmark. Poshmark does lives. I've never done that. I have sold on Poshmark, but not Poshmark Live. Yeah,
Poshmark, because of the fact that it's a very much of a clothing oriented one, and we're not really clothing and luxury clothing sellers. It's not one that but we will have Poshmark sellers on as guests.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to talk to somebody that is making that work for their business. And there's eBay Live, which as of right now is invite only. We have signed up with them to hopefully maybe get an invite one day because we are longtime eBay sellers. But as of right now, we've never sold on there. And there are others.
I've actually been on there, but believe it or not, it is hard to find. The eBay Live. It really is. I mean, it took me a long time to try to find it. But when I found it, I clicked on it and I saw what was selling. And it was funny because a lot of what was selling was what Whatnot got started with, which was sports cards and comics and things of that nature, was what Whatnot actually became known for.
Funko Pop. That is actually what Whatnot was created for, was selling Funko Pops.
Yeah, and that's what we found. And the sites are very similar. Well, I don't know about Poshmark because I've never.
I was actually watching a Poshmark show the other day, and the setup was very, very similar to Whatnot. It was
same as the District. They do have some differences, especially the District, where with their co-selling, is definitely got a plus to it, where you could sell on somebody else's channel your items and the money comes to you and the shipping labels all come to you, where it doesn't have to be split, where eBay hasn't, or not eBay, Whatnot hasn't gotten that one yet.
Which we still have done some co-selling type things on Whatnot. It just takes a little bit of behind the scenes finagling and a high level of trust with the person you're working with.
Yeah, because it does involve money, splitting money and splitting shipping and things of that nature. So what other sites are there?
Those are the ones that I know of personally, but like I said, I know there are some other small sites out there. Like I know there's one, and I can't think of it, but it's for Pokemon cards, and they just literally sell Pokemon cards all day. And I'm sure there's other specialty sites
YouTube?
Too. Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
YouTube
and Instagram. You didn't write it down.
What's it say where it says and others?
Yeah, he wrote others. YouTube and Instagram, people both do live selling on there, even though they're not set up as live selling platforms where it processes the money for you. People sell from there. And also TikTok, which TikTok live selling is different. Right now, they're not allowing people to do secondhand items. It is all new items. And it's, to me, very, I don't know, commercialized in a way. I don't love TikTok live selling, but it may change in the future.
And we will be finding people that sell on those.
And I would love to. I want to hear experiences.
Yes. So those are the other platforms that we have or that are out there. And I know that there's more. And we are going to explore all of them, or we're going to try our best to explore as many of them as we possibly can. But again, our focus is going to be on Whatnot because that's primarily where we are. So it's hard for me to sit here and talk about Jamble, which I've never sold on Jamble. As a matter of fact, I've never even seen a Jamble show. But we're going to go in.
I actually tried, but you have to have a Jamble account, and I just wasn't in the mood to make an account that day. So
right. Oh, another feature that we're going to be doing on ours is we are going to be showcasing sellers that are live sellers, and we're going to showcase 3 every single week that we do our podcast. We're going to do 3 sellers that are all at different levels of selling on Whatnot. We will showcase other platform sellers when we find them. But we're going to be doing Whatnot probably for the first few episodes because that's what we know. So we're going to talk about some new sellers, and we're going to talk about some more established sellers, but I wouldn't call them big sellers.
They're growing sellers.
They're growing.
That's what I would consider us.
Yeah. And then we're going to focus on some of the larger sellers. So Tracy's going to do the new sellers first, and we'll see how she does.
Well, the first new seller we are going to focus cover is someone we mentioned earlier, and that's Grams and Pops Vintage. And they have at this point done maybe give or take 5 Whatnot shows, I would say.
I mean 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Running.
And, they're just kind of feeling out the platform. I will say I know from personal talking to them that they weren't really sold on the concept of live selling, but they're starting to embrace it. And I love that.
I don't know if embracing would be the right term, or they're more or less
accepting it.
That one might be the best term right there. They focused mostly on jewelry, and they did stamps.
Like stamping up stamps.
Rubber stamps. So they did very well on their shows, but they're a growing platform. You want to check them out. We're going to put a link down there below, or if I can, I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
I'll try to figure it out somehow. And we're going to put in a link down there below for Grams and Pops Vintage. They're also on YouTube, so you can check them out on YouTube, and they sell on multiple different platforms also. Now, the established seller or the growing seller. This is somebody that we met. I don't remember meeting them because I was heavily medicated because I had surgery on my neck. Is Ryan and Christine, which is the Gulf Coast Pickers. They are down in Florida, Venice, Florida. They are a growing platform. They are part-time sellers, so it's harder for part-time sellers to grow faster, because one of the big things with Whatnot that'll help you grow is consistency and being on the platform a lot. And we are doing that. But that is Ryan and Christine. They host multiple raid trains themselves, which they organize. We do one a year, and that's it. And I don't even like doing that one. I only do that one because it helps soldiers and veterans and things like that. Yes, Jesse.
But they host one every single week, a plush raid.
Two or one or two.
Just one right now.
Yeah.
A plush raid train every single week. And then they do a Disney train every month. Mm-hmm. And then they're trying to work back into doing a garage sale raid train again. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
But give them a follow, give them a check, take a look at their stuff. They're really nice people. It's Ryan and Christine.
And they are kind of delving deeper right now into some of the like vintage t-shirt categories. So if you are into vintage t-shirts, I will say hit their shows now. You might find some bargains.
Yep. And then the big sellers.
Yes.
These are sellers that for us, they're over 15,000 followers. They've been on the whatnot for a hot minute, and they are growing.
To me, they're the people that I look at as being like influencers within the platform, in a way.
Yeah,
I because they affect the platform as a whole, because they have these big rooms, they have a big impact, and people know their names. Mm-hmm. And we would be remiss if we chose anybody except this man as our first bigger seller to highlight. And that is no, not you.
Oh, darn.
No. And that would be Paul the Philly Flipper.
Yes.
He, in my opinion, has done so much for the community. Us personally, he took us like under his wing, and he was like, you know what? You guys can do better. You guys can do better. And he helped us do better. And I see him do this with other sellers too.
Yep.
But outside of that, just his selling is amazing. If you have never gone into his show, I recommend his Saturday night show at 7 p.m. He runs it almost every Saturday at 7 p.m. And he starts everything at $1, and he'll sell whatever you can imagine.
A lot of the stuff that he's selling, he got from us. But Paul is also hosts some a raid train called Primetime Spotlight
with Nikki's Corners.
Nikki's Corner, yeah, his assistant. Nikki is amazing also too. But Paul is really he's over 25,000 followers, I think now.
Over 20 for sure, and probably 25. Sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's over 20,
I haven't been keeping up 25 good
now. But he's an amazing one. He does a community chat show. Almost every day or every other day. He does raid trains, which is help support the community. He does definitely help other resellers, and he doesn't have to. He's a big seller. He could just run his own shows and do his raid trains and make all of the money that he wants. But he does a lot to give back to the community, which is an amazing thing.
Very inspirational to us. It is taught us a lot of what we want to be when we grow up. Yeah,
exactly. And stuff. So those are our three. We got Grams and Pops Vintage, okay, which we'll link them. We're going to link all three of them down there below. Definitely give all three of these a follow, a check out. You want to look at them and help them out if you can. If you're into jewelry or you're into graphic tees or you're in anything, because Paul is an anything seller too. Yep. So we got Grams and Pops Vintage, we got Gulf Coast Pickers, and we have Paul the Philly Flipper, which is funny because Gulf Coast Pickers is the only one that's in. You're going to have to hope to pick it up because it'll cover the camera. Gulf Coast Pickers is down in Florida. Paul is down in Florida. And Grams and Pops Vintage are in South Dakota, so middle of the country. So some of the stuff that we're going to be doing when we're doing our format of how we're going to be doing our show, we are going to have some live shows. We're planning on doing some lives, maybe even from some of the meetups that we're going to be doing, that we'll do a live at that point, because we got 2 meetups already scheduled and another one that is going to be scheduled pretty soon. As soon as we get some time to get the finances and figure out our timing and everything. But we're going to be going to Planes to Profit in a week, just about a week. And then we're going to be going to
the Nashville Reseller Meetup in late April, around the 25th. And that's going to be, that one is fun to me because I feel like there's more Whatnot people coming to that one than the other. So we'll get a chance to talk about that aspect of our reselling.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one doesn't have necessarily as many live sellers, but it's going to be a more intimate setting where we get a chance to really connect with people.
Yep.
So there's pros and cons to both. So I'm super excited about both of them.
Yeah, and I guarantee you we'll be going live at the Nashville meetup. That one's hosted by Ray, the Nashville Flipper.
Yeah.
You can check out him on his Facebook, or check out the Facebook page of the Nashville meetup. And
the tickets for that, absolutely free of charge.
Yep.
You just got to sign up, say you're going to go, and show up.
Yeah, you just have to pay for your way to get there and
your hotel and your food and all the cool stuff that you source.
Right. Now, here's one of the best parts that we're going to be doing on our show, and that's going to be what's new in live reselling. And for us, it's going to be what's new on Whatnot. So these are the things that we're excited about, some of the changes that we've seen. And some of them might not be the best changes in the world, and some of them that they might not affect you at all.
Number one, we're going to talk about, we're right now, I'm going to talk about it. The rewards program is entering season 3 as of like March 3rd or something. It entered season 3. And now you're able to launch a rewards program, which we love. We love to reward our regular buyers with coupons and things like that. This time they've added a feature where you can title your own levels within the rewards program. You can make up your own names and you can put pictures in. So for us being the crazy cat people, each of our titles is named after one of our cats and it's got a little cat picture.
Yeah, it's really, really cool because it starts off at like bronze. I think it goes bronze, silver, gold,
platinum and
diamond. So there are like 5 levels. It's just like any kind of a rewards program that you can get at a store, a retail store where they have rewards programs. So it's an amazing thing. But this one, we get to personalize that, which I think is a really cool aspect of it because, you know, everybody had bronze the last session, or everybody had silver, gold, platinum, diamond. For us, we have ones that are named after our cats, and then we have a little picture with our cat. So it's really super cool. And I mean, you could do a lot of stuff with that, have a lot of fun with that type of a thing, or you could just say, well, we're just going to do what we normally do.
So, if you like cats, become part of our reward program and you get a cool little cat icon.
Yeah. And one of the things that they just brought back, because they had it like about a month ago and then it went away, is the ability to find pre-bids on your live shows. Now, there are 2 ways that you can do live shows. One of them is called a random poll, and the other one is called pre-listed items. We do both. We do both of those types of shows. We do pre-listed shows and we do random shows. Not only that, we also do shows that have both in it too. Okay, so they're really good to do. They're really fun to do. But the ability to be able to do and find those pre-bids is so much better, because you can literally hit a little button on the computer where it says pre-bids and shows you all of the pre-bids that are in the show, and you could run those items. Especially for us, I can't run very long. I can normally run for about an hour to 2 hours, somewhere in that aspect, because I'm up. I cannot sit down. I was a teacher for 18 years. And I will let you know, teaching and being on Whatnot is similar in one aspect, is it's performing. It's trying to sell your items. It's being up in front of the camera, but in teaching, you're in front of the classroom and trying to perform and get the children to learn something. And I'm trying to get you guys to buy something. So there's very similar in that aspect. But I have to be standing. Well, at my age right now, it's hard for me to go over 2 hours. Over 2 hours, my feet are starting to hurt.
He's not just standing. He's grabbing stuff. He's showing stuff. He's moving. He's dancing. He's performing.
Oh, so we need to bring up the Santa doggy dance, huh? Nice one. That's sort of the fun part of doing the Whatnot. So thank you, Whatnot, for bringing back the pre-bids. We absolutely love that.
We do.
You know, that was a great one. Now another segment. We're getting close to ending now, but go ahead, baby.
Another segment that we plan to do is questions and answers. So if anyone drops some questions down in the chat or in the comments, or if there's something and you prefer to keep it like, you don't want to put your name out there, feel free to IG me, send it to us on Instagram, and we will answer.
Who are we on Instagram?
We are Jack's Treasure Trove on Instagram. We're Jack's Treasures everywhere else. On Instagram/Facebook, we are Jack's Treasure Trove, and that is only because someone else has Jack's Treasures and they don't even use the page, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, I know. We've reached out a couple of times
Thank
and stuff. But yeah, we would love to get questions and answers, or questions or even answers to some of ours.
Mhm.
So that's a big part of us because we want to be interactive. So we're going to be doing some lives. We're going to be dropping our shows on Sundays at noon. We're going to be dropping
Mhm.
those at noon. I know one time I said 11, but I think we're going to be doing them at noon. It's a better time for us.
No one
And
wants to get up that early
yeah,
on
no
a
doubt.
Sunday.
And we are going to be having some guests on our shows. So
Mhm.
we want to have some people on that are, for live selling, and some of them that maybe not completely sold on live selling. So we're going to be doing both of those. So in short, come check us out. This is a new podcast for us. It's a new adventure for us. It's going to be our podcast is focusing on live reselling versus static reselling, and we're going to enjoy it a lot. Also, if you can, we'll put Trace. We'll post a link down below. There's a organization that we help support. They don't have no idea that we do, but that's Stop Soldier Suicide. 20 soldiers a day commit suicide, and we just think that that number is atrocious. I am a veteran, and I just would love to do anything that I can to help them.
And as always, pet a cat,
Yes.
preferably live when you let
Get
it in here.
the notebook down for me, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, so check us out. We're going to be doing some more stuff. We got some exciting things already planned. We do have a lot of guests lined up. So we're excited about that. So check us out. We're going to do some more editing. By the way, we're not going to edit this one at all. Okay, so y'all are going to see the whole
We're going to have
darn
to edit a
thing.
little bit.
I don't know about that. I think it just paused and then restarted
We'll
back
see.
up again.
We'll see.
Yeah. But check us out. Okay. We appreciate everybody for coming in and staying till the very end. We will
Bye.
be back next Wednesday at, or not, I'm sorry, not next Wednesday, next Sunday at noon. Check us out.